What was the turning point that made you realize traditional AgTech incubators weren't cutting it and inspired you to launch the Reservoir?
Well, I saw that they were mostly office spaces. They were in places like Sunnyvale, California. They were surrounded by pavement. So what I was expecting to find was farm access, field access, greenhouse access, but that it wasn't that. It was really it looked like it could be an incubator for mobile gaming. It looked like it could be an incubator for anything.
How do you see the Reservoir evolving over the next 3 to 5 years? And are there any particular global markets or crops you're most eager to impact?
Yeah, we do see becoming global in the next 3 to 5 years. Ag is global. We really need those global R&D pipelines. We've circled a couple of markets as being extremely interesting. Netherlands, Israel, India, New Zealand, Australia. There are a few others, but those are the big ones. And what we want to set up are bilateral exchanges to bring entrepreneurs here from, let's say, the Netherlands, to send California entrepreneurs out there to learn, to commercialize, etc.
What's one mistake you see ag robotics making, these startups making repeatedly, and how do you guide them away from it?
Yeah, we see them trying to build everything themselves. And so we talk about the 80-10-10. 80% should be off the shelf, 10% should be that integration work of the off the shelf components, and 10% is the invention, the magic, etc. If you look at a lot of the previous vintage of companies, it was a lot of the inverse, as they were clearly trying to build too many things themselves. So part of the goal with Reservoir Farms is if they have exposure to other companies, they're going to more naturally see what those partnership opportunities are.
What's the most surprising thing a startup has learned after testing at Reservoir Farms that changed their trajectory?
But we open in the fall. But what we expect is that they'll be able to connect with more growers, have dozens of customer conversations, much easier, fewer sort of a better signal to noise ratio, more farm access, more grower access.
What do you think for a lot of these companies? What will the typical story look like for these companies that end up participating?
Yeah, typical story be that they show up, they get access to a machine shop, a fab shop on day one. They immediately have access to land. They immediately have access to growers. So that first like 3, 6, 12 months where they're searching for all those things, that just gets taken care of in day one. So we talk about we want to let roboticists be roboticists. And so really kind of take a lot of that legwork out. And then immediately they're part of a community. We talk about this being the Olympic Village of AgTech. They're going to meet companies from around the world doing different products, different crops. They're just going to be in this learning environment. And we think that's incredibly valuable. Sometimes I talk to companies and say, well, if I'm not fundraising, why do I want to be on display? And I'm like, well, you want to be part of a community. You want to plug into energy, plug into talent. And we think that a new company in ag tech needs to actually better market itself. And you'll do that by being part of a community. There's a brighter light on you. And we think that's going to be incredibly valuable.
You mentioned the Olympic Village model. How do you design it to be both rigorous and supportive for founders?
We think there are things that are accessible to the community, like the farm and different things like that. But then the shop area, that's going to be fenced off. It's going to be key card access, things like that. So we kind of want to strike that balance. We also want to limit the number of sort of unscheduled visitors. Like we're not just going to bring the CEO of Kubota through one day without informing our members. Kind of having a bit of a routine, having routinized demo days, events, things like that. So you kind of limit the number of distractions. We want this to be a place that's both great for marketers, but also great for engineers who want to be heads down.
What do you look for in a startup team or idea before welcome them into the Reservoir ecosystem?
Yeah, we really want them to understand how they fit in a complementary way to what we're building. And so, we don't want to have like 7 broccoli harvesters. That would be kind of a little bit lumpy. So we want to think about crop diversity, solution diversity. Are they a component part, like a robotic arm, an end effector, a material science kind of component, or are they a full-on harvester that is integrating all these different things? So we're kind of looking for those complementary characteristics. We also are thinking a lot about community building. So when I talk to a founder, when I talk to a team, I really want to make sure that they understand that they're buying into a community environment and that they're going to be contributing to something. I want them to be able to value their privacy and respect that, but at the same time, we want to be able to kind of support sort of different modes of interaction and for lots of different personality types to feel valuable there.
How do you balance the tension between rapid iteration and the long seasonal nature of agriculture?
We really want a deeply committed ag tech founder who's going to be willing to kind of follow the crop. And the story I tell that I think gives a sense of what we're looking for is I tell the story of Brian Chesky, the CEO and founder of Airbnb. So for 2 different years with multiple years apart, Brian lived on Airbnbs for an entire year. He stayed in palaces and mansions. He stayed in studio apartments and probably one-room huts, and he just lived the product. And so we are looking for founders who are willing to commit that way. And so we want them to be willing to pick up and maybe move part of their core team to Yuma in the winter, to find multiple harvests per year. And especially during the R&D phase of core products, they have to be willing to be a bit nomadic. So we're looking for that all-out commitment. If you're a software team and you wanted to sort of stay in one place and you say, great, we did our harvest, we're good, we're going to try again next year. That's just not the kind of work ethic we're expecting to be able to solve and impact the future of food.
How have your partnerships with growers changed your perspective on what's actually needed on the ground?
So it's very multifaceted. Growers will say, I want to see this tested in a neutral environment first, but they also say, I need to see it happening on my own fields. Growers will say, I want them to test with me and me only, but they'll also say, I want to support the broader community. So growers are humans. They're contradictory. So I think that being able to build trust with them, engage them, and those sorts of things, really, really, really critical. And we're trying to find ways for growers, large and small, to feel comfortable at Reservoir Farms. But at the same time, we can't work with 93 different farmers to farm our broccoli. That's going to be too many cooks in the kitchen, and we're going to hit a point of diminishing returns. So we have to find ways to engage the grower community, show that we're not in any one grower's pocket. And that's something that's going to be an everyday thing. It's going to kind of be a little bit more of a show, not tell. Like they're just going to have to get to know me, get to know the team, see what we're all about, and I think we can figure this out.
If you could wave a magic wand to remove one barrier for agriculture robotics adoption tomorrow, what would it be?
I really want to drastically lower the cost of R&D. And that means a lot of different things. It means faster iteration cycles. It means cheaper components. It means better models. It means cheaper software stacks, more open source stacks, etc. So if you think about something like a carbon robotics machine, it's over $1 million. There's a reason it's over $1 million, because R&D is hard, it's highly specialized, it's not scaled. Then if you look at something like a Tesla, which is an incredibly powerful machine, it can be a $30,000 or $40,000 machine. How do we start to get farm robotics to a place where it becomes more affordable and we can pass those savings down to the grower themselves? We can still maintain a margin for the developer, for the entrepreneur, but start to pass those sorts of economics down. That's a really exciting moment. And we're just not there yet. We're not there yet, but I hope to be able to see that we can start to pass those savings down.
It's a big risk leaving small farms, and a big risk is potentially leaving small farms and rural workers behind. How are you actively designing inclusivity into the Reservoirs model?
So we're really looking at a wide range of solutions, and we're certainly not only looking for solutions at our production level. The thing about a lot of the farms in the Salinas Valley in particular is that most large growers are farming multiple sort of 40, 50 acre farms. So what might work for a 40 or 50 acre small farmer might also work for a production level grower that's farming 40 or 50 acre farms, 50 acre ranches. So we're looking for that balance. We also are very supportive of sort of rental or lease oriented commercialization models. One of the partners we're working with is someone called Pacific Ag Rentals, PAR. They're very well known in our world, and actually, Bart Walker's become a friend and an advisor, because we really also want to be able to offer farmers a variety of economic options and educate founders about these different options so they can find feasible price points that work. So, we're very plugged into that, and we really want to have that sort of, broad orientation as well. And I have a lot of friends and a lot of partners who are helping kind of provide input into that.
How do you ensure that global expansion efforts don't just replicate the same challenges in new geographies, but truly adapt to local contexts?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different opportunities, but one is that we need to improve the flow of information across hubs and even within hubs. And I think part of what you're doing here, Jared, is great in the sense that like you're creating a new media product that's really sort of built for the digital age, built for the sort of successor farmer. And I think that's a really exciting step forward. We're going to see significant media disruption in ag and ag tech in the next few years. I think we're going to see a lot of consolidation. I think we're going to see a lot of new formats like this come up. So my hope would be that we actually can recreate or really refresh the ag media market. That's part of the commercialization challenge. Part of the myriad reasons why ag tech companies don't scale. It's actually really hard to get the word out. and you really still have to play a lot of a ground game. And so I think there's actually a significant media opportunity where we can connect markets, we can go global. And so I root for the success of something like this, and I hope that you can really reach a broad audience because that actually really benefit the ecosystem.
Last two questions. What's one lesson you've learned as a founder and investor that you wish you could share with your younger self?
Oh, it's all about team. And so I think trust your instincts on team, and really empowering, your investors and the people around you to really kind of say, you know what, if you're betting on the right teams, they will kind of figure out their way through this. They will adapt and things like that. I think that's a big one.
What's one moonshot idea that you're personally fascinated by and think could change the world?
There's going to be some company in the next 5 years that's able to take kind of the power of a chat GPT kind of AI agent and then merge it with all the insane levels of fragmentation you have around farm data, around food supply chain data. Someone's going to figure that out. It might be a big company, it might be a series of smaller companies that then come together and kind of stitch together that solution. But I think we know that's going to be a very powerful tool. I haven't seen anyone approaching it in a completely realistic way yet. So I would say this is a call to action to kind of find that AI agent for growers and that can actually solve the problem on sort of both sides of the problem, both on the demand side and the supply side.
Love it. Thanks so much.
All right, sir. Take care.